Chapter 11, Unifying Color by Undertone and Glazing. And this is an exciting approach to painting, and it's one that ties things together. I use it all the time in my work. But we'll talk first about undertones. And undertones are basically toning the paper before you get started on the painting itself. And if you're working transparently over the top of an undertone and you let some of that color of the undertone show through, then it's going to piece through the composition and kind of unify the color. Okay, now I've treated this piece of paper with a transparent acrylic that I put down, let it dry. This is kind of a yellow-green to yellow-orange as I've gradated it down to the bottom of the composition. Now that's dry, I'm going to come back with watercolor, work over the top. I've actually squeezed in a little bit of gouache into the outline corner and open area of my palette with the white and a little ultramarine blue. So I will at a certain point come back and put a little translucent in there, but the point is to show you how to unify color through the undertone. And so I don't want to paint it all over. I don't want to cover the whole thing. I want to let some of it radiate through. Maybe I'll start with a little bit of this gouache undertone. And we'll just let that be a translucent for the most part. So I'm adding white, I'm adding the ultramarine blue, and then mixing a touch of red to take it a little more to the violet, because the yellow-orange, or yellow, is the complement of that. So let's just lay this in here to start with. And I'm going to let that paper kind of work for me and just bring this around. This idea, by the way, is just a feeling for some of the autumn aspen where I live. So I'm just going to take that translucent, build it up into this upper area. I have mentioned this, that I love the ultramarine blue. It's a color that I feel, all the violets actually, and so on, the blue violets, it's like the base note of a composition. Many times you don't even see it or feel it, you know, if you listen to a bass in a classical piece, but it is what holds everything else together. So when I pull in some of this, that's how I feel. I feel that this is a unifying color that will kind of tie everything else together. So anyway, at this point, this gives you an idea of you know, working with an undertone. Okay, now I've done two studies, and they're very, very similar in terms of color and value. And I'm going to glaze over the top, but I'm going to choose different colors for my family to work with the glazing over the top. As you can see, I've got these two studies, and I'm going to cover one and just dive in with the other one. And I think with this first one, I'm going to go with the kind of the rose family. I'm going to work right in through here to give this kind of soft feeling for light and so on. One thing I should mention is that I did both these studies in acrylic, not watercolor. And I've done that intentionally because then when I glaze over it, the color's not going to lift as easily. So you can do it with watercolor, but you want to have a nice sable brush to wash over the top and not disturb the paint. So let's take this, and I'll just lay this in and see where it goes. You never know. And it will shift it, and it's going to shift the mood, take it a whole different way. But what I'm doing is unifying this, you see. And I can, when I'm glazing, I can soften it as it comes down to this area. So I don't have to use the same tone all the way through. And I can actually shift or leave some of it as it is.